You're listening to the Fezcast, the Saracens fans podcast, bringing you the independent and unhinged views of the voices in our heads, as well as those of our special guests. To get in touch with us, find the Fezcast on social media and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube and more. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy this week's show.
You're listening to the Fezcast.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Fezcast. I'm Barry, I'm hosting this week, and I'm joined by, first of all, Alex, who was at the women's game on Saturday. Hello, Alex.
Hi.
And also Matt, who was also there in his role as our roving reporter. Managed to get a couple of chats with Alex Austerberry and Sophie Bridger after the game. Hi, Matt.
Hello, mate. You right?
Yeah, not bad. And joining us to cover the men's game later on is the only one of us who's actually seen it, Duncan. Duncan has returned triumphant from Munster. In other words, he's still alive. He's back
Just
home. Just about. He's back home, and presumably now dry January's been blown out of the water, Duncan.
Well and truly. I think by more than double figures of pints of Guinness, I think.
I'm glad to hear it. If you hadn't managed any Guinness, I think we'd have been rather worried about you. But we'll start with the games in the order in which they took place. So, Matt, a rather dour affair at the Stonex on Saturday, just the 16 tries in it.
Yeah, a bit dull, wasn't it? A bit dull. When you took a look at the sides that were announced, Saracens, having lost against Loughborough, took no chances and went in absolutely full tilt. And Leicester chose to rest most of their international players. And a side that's towards the bottom of the table. It did look as though it was the perfect game for us to try and bounce back. But we kind of did that in style, really, with just 100 points on the board.
Yeah, although, of course, the scoreboard at the end said 0-0 because it can't actually cope with three figures. But, yeah, it is worth bearing in mind here that Tigers made 12 changes from their previous week's win over Sale. So, Alex, what did you make of the game?
I think it was good. I think Leicester, although they didn't score any points, there were points where they did look like scoring. They made some really good breaks. I think we were just too good. We really focused. We didn't let up. We scored 4 tries really quickly, but we kept going and just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. Yeah,
I think watching it on television, it looked like we started off obviously quite quickly. We had 5 tries inside 20 minutes and we never really let up. And I think that was one of the most pleasing aspects of the performance. As I say, 16 tries, 10 different try scorers. It would probably be easier for us to list the players who didn't score, but there were a couple for Marley, a couple for Zoe Harrison, and of course a hat-trick for Sophie Bridger on her return from injury. Matt, how long was Sophie out for again?
She was out for the whole of the season. I'm trying to think when she actually picked up her injury. It's a lot longer ago. Oh, she'll have to forgive me for not getting the numbers right. But yeah, she had a couple of setbacks over the course of that injury as well. So it's been a long time coming for Sophie getting back. It is a shame sometimes we don't record this podcast with video because the smile on Sophie's face, it certainly warmed me up after sitting there watching the game. She was pretty chuffed.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. I think probably we'll play the audio in a little bit later, but I think the best part for her was not being in Brunch Club anymore. And clearly that's not quite the same as Fight Club. Poppy Clear won the official player of the match. Alex, who did you pick out?
I think Emma Hardy was really good. She wasn't meant to start. So Cindy Gregson dropped out just before the match. So to step up and then to score 2 tries was really good. And yeah, just her general play around the game was really good.
Yeah, I think Saracens look very good with the ball. Just having a look at the stats earlier on, Leicester Tigers made 150 metres gained. Who wants to have a go at how many metres officially were gained by Saracens in that match?
I would be cheating if I because I do know this.
I have never seen this before. 1,009 metres gained from 156 carries. 36 defenders beaten. That's almost running around everyone 3 times just for the fun of it.
So that would have put them somewhere from the Stonex down to the North Circular.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think one of the the best stats really is turnovers. If you've looked at those, the turnovers conceded is Leicester Tigers 18, Saracens 21, and turnovers 1, Leicester Tigers 7, Saracens 6. So you'd look at that and go, well, Leicester have done pretty well there. But actually, what that means is that Leicester didn't really have the ball for us to turn it over. It was just so one-sided. So much of the game was we score a try. I mean, Jez will love this because Jez says the simplest way to win a game of rugby is to take the kickoff, catch it, run up the other side of the pitch, score a try, take the kickoff again, catch it, run up the other side of the pitch, score a try. And that is exactly what was happening throughout the course of the game. Leicester barely had the ball. As Alex said, they made a couple of fantastic breaks over the course of the game, but that was about it, unfortunately. But yeah, Saracens, we just kept going and going and going. It was absolutely relentless, even when the bench was unloaded.
That Alex Austerberry picked up in your chat with him afterwards. He was pleased the fact that we didn't sort of take our foot off the gas and get sloppy or loose. We kept playing to the system and the standards that he expects all the way throughout the game. You know, from minute 1 to minute 80. I mean, we did score with pretty much the last play of the game as well. Alex, talk to us about Marley Packer. What a game she had on her 100th appearance for the club.
Yeah, I think, his first try she's scored all season. She got 2. She played really well. And the fact that we were able to take her off at 65 minutes and we didn't think we needed to keep her on just shows the quality we have across the squad.
Yeah, Marley's first try, if you've not seen it, folks, she galloped in from about 48 metres, and I think she was probably glad it wasn't 55 because she was looking round for support towards the end there. But there was a wonderful moment which didn't unfortunately result in a try directly, where Marley and Poppy played a little 1-2 in the first half, and they almost got in from the halfway between the two of them. Just about the cover tackle just about got across there, but they were unplayable, weren't they, really, Matt?
They were, yeah. Jess Breach is another one who's having a few injury setbacks, and she was on comms again this week, and I think she's got a career ahead of her there, and she quite rightly picked out Poppy Cleal as player of the match, despite being one of the few players that didn't actually score a try herself, but she was responsible for 6, 7, 8 of them as either directly assisting it or having a huge part to play in the build-up. Some of the soft hands that you saw from that was something you don't always see from Poppy. So yeah, the dynamic between her and Marley was almost back to its best that we kind of haven't seen for a while. So yeah, it was fantastic to see.
Yeah, as you say, Jess Breach was on comms, and if she doesn't get a job immediate, she'll certainly get a job as a footwear advisor, because there was some discussion about various shoes and other options in the comms. But we have to mention Fancy Bermudas, who not only scored a cracking try, but also managed to pick up a yellow card from one of those Leicester line breaks. I could see why it was given, but did it seem a little bit harsh, Alex?
I think it did, especially as the crowd, we didn't know what had happened. We just kind of saw her stop this line break and then get sent off. But I think watching it back, she was right to get the yellow card. It
was given for going off feet and basically slowing it down, which she probably didn't need to do. But yeah, I mean, the referee could possibly have maybe not brandished the yellow there, but fortunately didn't make too much of a difference. As well as Marley Packer, of course, we had May Campbell making her 150th appearance. That's quite some going, because May's only 28, is she? I think. Yeah, 28-year-old. She's got plenty of time to go on and play even more games for the club, Alex.
Yeah, and I think she's not really being picked for the internationals. So she's kind of that experienced player, but she's still there during times when the internationals are away. So she's able to get kind of those minutes in and just provide some consistency.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I wouldn't say Marley suffered from, but obviously her 100th game for the club. She has played an awful lot of internationals around that as well. But we have to talk about what's left. I'll tell you what, actually, let's listen to Alex Austerberry in conversation with Matt, and then quickly after that, Sophie Bridger, who also had a chat with Matt immediately after the game.
Hi, this is Petrus Duplessis, and you are listening to the Fezcast.
This is the Fezcast.
So welcome to the Fezcast. We're post-match at the Saracens women against Leicester Tigers women match, and 100 points on the board. But before we get to that, Alex Austerberry, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Nice to be back. Happy New Year to everyone out there.
Thank you very much. And, beer in one hand, donut in the other.
It's not bad so far, right? Living the dream, living the dream. Sorry, I shouldn't really shock you like that, should I? But look, let's go backwards slightly, because last week's match against Loughborough was a bit disappointing, but this week is a good way to bounce back, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were probably fell short of our standards that we expect of ourselves. Level of execution against Loughborough was off, but just our connectedness, our collectiveness was what was probably lacking. And we spent not the week discussing it, but we spent some time digging a bit deeper, not as superficial as some reviews can be. Just we did do this well, we need to do this better. Players heavily involved, driving it about who do we want to be? At our best, what does it look like? And we've known that we've not been quite at our best this year, but we've run out of time to get there. So a good refocus, a galvanising moment was the defeat. People say you can learn a lot in it, but it's all right having the opportunity to learn, but it's put into practice. And this week has been about, well, what does that look like? How do we bring that to life? And today was our first opportunity to get back on the horse, and we did pretty well. And I think the manner of the victory, irrespective of the scoreline, it was the connectedness. It was executing consistently as a team. The ruthlessness and the relentlessness were words that were all used by the players. And I thought that we got a very good performance off the back of it. And what was pleasing is I think we're a step closer to being the team we have the potential to be. And that's equally, it's more important than the 5 points.
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable way to get back in. And I mean, you almost predicted is probably the wrong word, but pre-match against Loughborough, you did say in your pre-match notes that they're a team that could shock teams and will shock teams, and obviously they did. Shocking, possibly the wrong word, is that they are a good side? Yeah,
they are a very good side, and familiar face in Olive causes a lot of problems, and again we knew about that. I just think that if you look at the game back, it was key scores just before half time for them. Then even if you go to the first couple of players, we get held up over the line.
Yeah,
and then we had chances in the second half, but it's difficult. We know they're a good team; they're full of quality, and we didn't take our chances. And when you do that, it breathes oxygen into the other team, and they took their chances, and we weren't clinical enough when it counted. And against good teams, which they are, you get punished. And there's a lot of times this year, there's a lot of good teams you play against, and we have got to be better at taking those moments. So that, again, going to today, the clinical nature of today stands us in good stead going into what will be another immense test against Harlequin.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you mentioned it's you learn a lot from a defeat. Equally, sometimes you don't learn a huge amount from a large victory like today. But obviously, you mentioned there, and I've noticed as well, the intensity in the game today that never really dropped at all throughout 80 minutes. That was a strong way to bounce back.
Yeah, I think the manner of our play is what was important. Again, there's times when if scoreboards get big quickly, that the game drifts, it meanders. Players start doing things in isolation about whether it be subliminally, subconsciously, they don't work as a collective. But what was really, really pleasing today was that, throughout the game to right at the end, everyone's doing it connected. Everyone's in it together. The support play, the link play. And that one of the most pleasing aspects of today was just the relentlessness in defence. It was scoring points for us. It was almost like looking at an American football defence in terms of interceptions, and it kept on going. And we know that, the old adage, defence wins championships, right? And we've got to get better there. We've conceded too many points this year, too many soft scores, and today was, we said we got a fork in the road. The team that we've been, or the team we want to be, and we were a lot closer to the team we want to be with the options we chose today.
Absolutely. I hate the cliche of every game's a cup final, but with 4 games to go, we are essentially at that point, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. The good thing is we're masters of our own destiny. Yeah. We've got 4 games, and if we win out, we put ourselves in the playoff picture, and then it is literally the final, semi-final. But yeah, it really is. There's no room for error. As soon as soon as a team now in the top 4 slips up, you're inviting another team to take control, and we've not got the luxury of that position of where you've got one that's a get out of jail free card. There's no more of those left. There's a couple of teams in that scenario, and we need to make sure that we back up our performance against the top 14 in Harlequin's team that we lost to here. We get more momentum. We start to get a firmer grasp on a playoff position, because at the minute there's lots of hands scrambling for it. If we beat Quins, back that up over the next couple of weeks, then we'll be in a good position. But as you say, if we don't, you get dragged back down on the outside of the playoff picture. You give them the momentum to Bristol, who are currently on the outside of it, and you can't afford to do that because the time's running out.
Absolutely. Well, look, there's probably too many players to mention today. Performed well, 23 out there, and presumably more in training that have supported what's gone on today. But obviously, a word for both Marley and May on big milestones. They've been fantastic servants to the club, and both performing brilliantly today as well.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about milestones for players. It always sounds like they're coming to an end, right?
It does, yeah.
But start with May. She's in the best form of her career and has been in a superb patch. So it comes to a point where it's not form, it's just where she's at.
Yeah.
And I think that is where May's game is at. She's at a very high level, consistently performing week in, week out, and, making defining moments consistently in games. So I'm excited about, how she will continue to grow and develop. And we said, joking about when she came in as a youngster to where she is now and how she's regarded in the squad. And Marley, she's been here for a very long time, playing at a world-class level.
Yeah.
And it is no surprise to me she put that performance in today. She's still got an immense role to play with the Red Roses, and here she's absolutely integral to what we do. And we saw the competitor in Marley. And if I had a word to define her period at Saracens, she's unbelievably competitive. She is a person you want in a fight. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the manner that she played in, manner May played, the manner the team played for everyone. Sophie Bridger behind him, coming back from a long-term injury. Yeah, it was a great day, but I hope it's not the greatest day we had this year.
Well, I can't really say better than that, to be honest. So, Alex, thank you very much for joining us once again. Good luck for the rest of the matches. Hopefully see you again happy.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks very much. So we also have Sophie Bridger on the show this week. Sophie, let's start straight away. You're back from injury after quite a while out. I'm assuming you're pretty chuffed at that, right?
Yeah, very chuffed. A hell of a game to come back to. Absolutely buzzing. Yeah, injury was tough. It was a long time, a bit longer than I expected as well. But, everything comes with challenges. Everything has a silver lining. Learned that in the past, and I've found a few of my silver linings as well. So, yeah. It is what it is, but I'm buzzing to be back out with the girls.
Oh, that's good. Did you find out normally when someone's come back from injury and I speak to them, I ask a terrible question. Did you find anything else to do while you were injured that you enjoyed? Take up a little hobby when you've got a bit more time on your hands, or was it just focus on getting back into rugby?
No, I work, so I've worked more, more hours, so my bank likes me a little bit more. But I just enjoyed making connections with the girls when you are injured but you're still coming in. At some points it was really tough for me, especially in the first moments when everyone was kind of in camps and away, but the girls got me in, the staff got me in here knowing that I needed to be here. It was a real game changer for me, got me out of the flat. So that, and you have more time on your hands when you're here, so you can build those connections with a lot of the girls, which I've absolutely loved doing. A group of us always go for brunch before the games, have a little thing, and they all just said, no more, don't want to see you back at brunch club, but also, so that was really nice. But they're all here supporting me. And then just externally to that, just got to know new people. Yeah, I was just really enjoying just kind of living in London, having a good time. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's nice to see you sitting here with a smile on your face.
But yes, I'm very much happier being back here and being back in with the girls. But everyone's been so great, and it makes you want it even more. And, the people that team sheet goes up, and I get quite a few messages from a lot of people, and some people that I hadn't spoken to in a couple of months. So that was really nice.
Oh, there we go. Well, let's deal with the obvious. First game back, hat-trick. Job done, right?
On the tin, you would think so. But obviously, there's still so much more to it. Yeah. And I was just lucky to get on the end of them.
No, that's fair. But the performance in general, we've been speaking to Alex as well, and it just seemed like everyone was playing with an extra level of intensity compared to games previous. But
yeah, I think we're in the business end of the season, and obviously last week didn't go the way that we needed it to and the way that we wanted it to. We had some wrongs to right with that. And I think we came into the start of the week knowing that we needed to really put some points on this week, and not just put points on Leicester, but then practice goods for future games into the end of the season, which is what we were focusing on. We didn't slack up. We put in that full 80-minute performance, which is what we've been trying to do for this season. And now we really need to carry that into our next games and then like hopefully get top 4 and then to play off. So today was sweet, but we need to carry on.
Absolutely. Well, there was a little bit of a challenge out there for you today. Obviously, it's your first game back, a little bit rusty potentially. You were due to play alongside Sydney, who unfortunately wasn't available in the end, and played with Emma Hardy.
Yeah.
Did that sort of change your mindset of the game or anything? Having to look?
Not much more. I think I haven't played with them in years. I grew up with them in the pathway, but I haven't actually played with her this season now that she's come. So that was really nice, and I think we worked quite well together. Nothing really changed. We slot into those roles all the time at training, and for that reason exactly. And yeah, we went into that with positive mindset, and we were comfortable and happy.
Well, obviously, look, running up to the end of the season, you want to play in all the rest of the games, score hat-tricks in every single one of them and lift a trophy at the end of it. But is there anything else personally that you'd like to get out of what is an incredibly short season now for you?
Yeah, I think I just need to focus on my game. I had some things I needed to put right at the end of last season, and I was going into pre-season to do that. So I'm just going to be carrying those forward. Just really focus on my game personally, and then how I can do the best for the team and move that ball around, and then the rest will follow. Things will take care of itself.
Perfect. Well, in every way, congratulations, Sophie. Thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully for the rest of the season, all positive and onwards and upwards.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophie.
You're listening to the Fezcast.
You are listening to the Fezcast, which is proudly sponsored by the Saracen Supporters Association, and I'm Alison Davis, one of the SSA committee. For a £10 annual subscription, the SSA provides our members with monthly newsletters, virtual and in-person player events, away match ticket allocations, and we organise pre-match gatherings at away matches. We sponsor men's and women's players, and we support the Saracens Foundation Track Club on behalf of our members. On top of all that, every year we have a seasonal SSA badge, which is exclusive to members. Where else can you get that much value for a tenner? Join now at membermojo.co.uk/SSA, or come and see us on match day in the Oasis at the Stonex.
This is the Fezcast.
Well, thanks for that, Matt. Fascinating chat with Alex Austerberry. And obviously, as he said, we've got 4 cup finals to go. But Duncan, I think you wanted to come in at this point.
Yeah, I had more of a question than anything really, because I saw a grand total of 3 minutes of the game that it took to check into my room before going for the first pint of Guinness. And in that 3 minutes, I saw Zoe Harrison score a very good try, but then look in a lot of pain and get replaced by Amelia McDougall. So I wondered if there was any word on whether that was just precautionary or whether it was anything serious.
She, earlier on in the game, she got flattened. Basically, dived on a ball, picked up a loose ball, and a Leicester player made quite an aggressive tackle on the ground, which did lead to her sort of jarring her shoulder a little bit. And it was maybe 30 seconds before that try. And spoke to Jess Breach at the end of the game, or at half-time, who had spoken to Zoe. And Zoe went to make a pass, and it was a fantastic dummy, but it actually looked as though in making that pass, she realised her shoulder hurt, and so didn't pass the ball. So there was a fair old stoppage for that injury. She carried on for a bit, and then I think quite rightly they decided it wasn't worth the risk and brought Amelia on. But I haven't had any word on what that injury might be. I'm assuming, Alex, you don't know either.
No.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the fact that she was able to play on at least for a couple of minutes. I think she made it. Did she make it half time, or did they replace her just before?
It was about 60 seconds before half time, really. So but once she scored that try, and if you can do some careful lip reading of the close up that you get as she gets up from that try, you can understand why she was taken off.
Yeah, I think I read it as ouch, that hurt, but
something like that, yeah.
But yeah, obviously we wish her well, but great performance by Amelia McDougall all throughout the second half as well. So best wishes to Zoe, but we are fairly well stocked in that department if there is any injuries. But we do have to look at the next 4 games left for Saracens women this season. The next one looks a little bit interesting, so we'll come back to that. Trailfinders away in round 16 when Exeter host Quins, so they can't both win that game. Chiefs at home in round 17 and Sale at home at the end. But 25th of January, Quins away at the Stoop. That game is looking massive.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's going to be really important. In the next few weeks, Quins have got to play everyone else in the top 5, so they're going to have a big say in how the top 4 plays out. But I think winning, we need to win every game now, realistically. So winning that will help us build momentum going into the Exeter game.
As Alex said, we kind of hit a fork in the road of which Saracens side do we want to be? Which way do we want this season to pan out? And I think that's a massive game. It might do us a little favour having a rest week before then, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's hope that those who can't make it to Exeter for the men's game can get along to the Stoop and cheer the girls on, Matt.
Absolutely, yeah. As Alex quite rightly says, the Quins have to play everyone in that top five, that includes us. Huge part to play, and if we win all 4 of our games, it's pretty much a guarantee that we're top 2 and a home semi-final, which gives us a good chance of a home final as well. So, yeah, we just need everyone to get behind the team. Like I said, the Alex Austerberry called it a fork in the road, and I think that's a pretty fair way to put it. The Saracens we've seen this season isn't the best Saracens women. I think that's fair to say. So the fact that we're in the mix at the moment is brilliant. So, but yeah, it needs us all to get behind it, definitely.
Let's hope that we can rest up, get a few of the injured players back, and get ourselves ready and go for it on the 25th against Quins. Well, that just about covers the women's game, I think.
You're listening to the Fezcast.
Release date for this episode is January the 15th, which means a couple of things. One, we are pretty much halfway through dry January, for those of you who are doing it. And 2, the men's Six Nations tournament hoves into view. Breaking news here on the Fezcast is that the Wales and England squads have been announced for the Six Nations, and there are 8 Saracens involved so far. So let's run through those. On Tuesday, Wales announced that both Liam Williams and Nick Tompkins were selected for their squad. But the England squad has just been announced, and there are 6 Saracens in there, plus Nick Ezekwe, who will be continuing his rehab down at Pennyhill Park. The 6 Saracens named are 5 forwards: Theo Dan, Ben Earl, Jamie George, and congratulations to Tom Willis, who finally gets a long overdue call-up, in my opinion. And, of course, Mauro Itoje, Elliot Daly being the only back. But the big news is that Mauro will take over as England captain from Jamie George. So sincere congratulations, is now a club and country captain. And I'm sure that Jamie and all the other lads will offer him the usual support. But immense congratulations to all the Saracens selected. Unfortunately, we release this episode before the Scotland squad comes out, so not too sure about that one. But no doubt Jez will cover off the any other selections next week. Also next week, please make sure to join us, as Jez will be discussing his Six Nations prediction competition, which you get the chance to do 2 things. One, prove how much more knowledgeable you are about international rugby than any of the Fezcast presenters, including, of course, myself, who was actually beaten by Jez's dogs last year. And secondly, you'll get the opportunity to support a wonderful cause in motor neurone disease. So join us next week for further discussion. But in the meantime, congratulations to the 8 Saracens selected.
This is the Fezcast.
So that leads us nicely on to Munster. Still joined by Duncan, Alex and Matt. Only Duncan and Alex have actually seen the game, but we'll rely on their expertise.
I'm just here as window dressing as usual.
Just the pretty face.
Yeah, Matt's here to make the place look pretty. I've got the perfect face for radio, I can assure you of that, dear listener. Duncan, a point gained or an opportunity spurned, do you think?
Both.
Just
before Munster scored their 2 tries, I think most people around were saying neither of these teams are going to score a try, are they? Because there were 2 pretty good defensive displays going on, but both sides were making mistakes. And we, throughout the whole game, apart from the one time when Liam Williams botched it, quite frankly, we never looked like scoring a try. On their side, Jack Crowley had the nearest thing to missing an open goal that I have ever seen. He did a wonderful chip over, collected the ball with nobody in front of him and promptly dropped it. And that was about the nearest, I think that was in the first half. We had a couple of times when we were very near to their line. just couldn't get over. And a number of reasons for it. In the early part of the game, both Ivan van Zyl and Fergus Burke were doing some very clever little dinks over the top where it looked like we might gather. And there were another couple of times when, if we hadn't dropped the ball, then there could have been a couple of really good intercepts. But they seem to have Tom Willis even, well contained. And that seems to make a big difference to us at the moment. He still had a good game and made some yards, but not as many as we've seen him recently. And if we lose that, then especially towards the end of the game, we seem to fall back on this static attack. And towards the end of the game, we were very late to make our substitutions. And in fact, we never substituted Ivan van Zyl. And of course, we didn't substitute Fergus Burke. And I think that the two of them, as well as the team looking a bit tired, those two also looked mentally tired. And we weren't coming up with the invention that we were at the beginning of the game. If we'd had a good performance, then it was a game we could have and should have won. So against that background, we did well to get the bonus point, which is why I say it is both a disappointing result, but a useful bonus point.
Yeah, I think some of our 3-word reviews that we've got on Twitter have reflected that. I mean, Andrew Radanovic at Andrew J. Rads says respect the point. Kazi at Sari Kazi has said success and failure. So that could also refer to the women's game. And Rugby Saracens at Rugby Saracens, blunt attack loss. Now, it was something that I noticed the week before against Bristol. We seem to be improving our ruck speed. We seem to be getting some quicker balls away. The ball presentation was good, and Van Zyl was picking it up and getting it away much, much quicker. But I've read one or two things on social that suggest that wasn't really the case. And obviously, Duncan, that backed up what you said just now. But Alex, how do you see his performance?
Yeah, I think we were slow getting the ball out of the ruck. I don't know, that's because Munster was putting in better opposition, and they saw that as a point to slow us down to try and hinder our attack. I think there were a couple of decisions that maybe we shouldn't happen. At the end, I think Liam Williams should have passed the ball sooner and we could have got a try. But overall, to come away from Munster with a losing bonus point is better than nothing. And it could be crucial going into the round of 16.
To say that Liam Williams should have passed the JMG outside him as opposed to going for the spectacular dummy is the understatement of the weekend, and very, very true. Defensively, both teams were really good. Really good, which is why it looked like it was going to be a tryless match. And I wonder whether the difference between the two teams came down to the occasion a little bit, because I'd never been to Thomond Park before, and it's a fantastic stadium, 26,000 people with an absolutely electric atmosphere from I didn't realise the opera is a huge part of the occasion there. They have an opera singer before the game, and then the crowd sing opera songs during the match. And the roar that they get going is absolutely tremendous. And it could be because it was the kind of roar that, sends the hairs down the back of your neck tingling. And that might have been what was the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, personally speaking, I was disappointed that none of the people I go with were up for a trip to Munster, but of course it was very close to Christmas, so I kind of understand that. Matt, is it somewhere you've been, or is it still on your bucket list to get out to Thomond Park?
So I'm not a fantastic away traveller really for rugby in general for no real reason, to be honest. But yeah, if I was going to make a special trip anywhere, I think, to be honest, any of the Irish teams, it'd be good fun. And the only place I've actually been, but not to the rugby, is Galway. So I'd take a Connacht game as well, because it's lovely there.
It's very similar to the atmosphere of the French game, with one crucial difference, which is that even when they think that they've given away a penalty because the referee has committed a complete and utter miscarriage of justice, they still shut up when the kicker's taken the penalty from the opposing team. Other than that, it's the same kind of huge, feverish atmosphere. The other thing that was quite interesting is that at about 6 o'clock, because it was 5:30 kickoff, the mist descended, quite a heavy mist, which came with a huge, heavy smell of coal fires. I don't think it was peat, because I'm told that peat has a very herby smell, but it was like for a bit like having a match maybe in a blast furnace, which is very appropriate because that kind of smell that goes with the atmosphere.
It certainly all used to be Pete down there, but I believe he's moved away now. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that one.
Oh, that's awful.
That's all right, Duncan could edit it out.
I'm leaving it in just to show what a disgrace you are, Barry.
But, the club put out this morning, we're recording this on Monday night, but the club put out this morning a post to, let's say, try and explain the various permutations. But it really boils down to this. I think we're fortunate to be playing on the Sunday because we'll know exactly what we've got to do because all the other teams play before us on the Saturday. But it comes down to this, really. If we win on Sunday, we are guaranteed to finish at least second. So that will be a good motivation for the players. But I think, irrespective of what happens Sunday, I think it's been a better Champions Cup campaign than what we may have expected. I think is that fair to say, Alex?
Yeah, I think especially the amount of players who left last season and the experience they had, it was going to be hard enough within the Premiership to get in a good position to get into the knockout rounds. So doing this well in the Champions Cup is definitely good considering the players we lost.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are effectively, we're almost through because I think Stad need to win by 49 or more points against the Bulls. And if they don't do that, we will qualify anyway. But as I say, a home win on Sunday, and we should be set up for a home round of 16 game where we could be playing virtually anyone. Does anyone really understand the permutations of who we could possibly be playing?
I think they're quite easy to understand when you read them. Sorry, Matt, but you just don't know who you're going to play.
No, but is there any country protection? I don't think there is there?
No, there's nothing at all. If we finish second in the group, we'll face a team that finished third in their group, but with no guarantee over who that is. It's all just sort of seeded. But at the end of the day, you win, you finish higher in the group, you play against someone who's in worse form than you. That's the only thing to. As Duncan says, we are one of the last teams to play, if not the last. So you could actually sit there with your calculator at the start of the game and work out that we need to win by exactly 9 points in order to finish in a particular seeding spot and play a particular team. They're not going to do that. They're just going to go out and win. That's the main thing. But it is quite a bizarre situation to be in, actually, that we're going into the final weekend. We could either top our group and have home seeding throughout the rest of the tournament, or we could be out of it entirely with a bizarre result. So, yeah, very strange.
Yeah.
Because Munster play Northampton away, if we beat Castres, we'll have at least second place. Probably we will have second place, which gives us, as Matt said, a home round of 16 against one of the weaker sides in the competition, both in theory and looking at the table as it stands at the moment, that's likely. If we can get a bonus point win and Munster can just get a 4-point win, we'll top the group, which means that we will probably have a home quarterfinal as well. You've got no idea by that time who you're going to be playing. And there are, I think we were saying, what was it? One of Leinster and La Rochelle will come second in their groups. One of
Glasgow
and Toulon will come second. I think it's one of Toulouse and Bordeaux.
Yep.
So if you're unlucky, you could have a home quarter-final against one of those. But if we were to beat any of those and get to a semi-final, then it's obviously going to be a lot more likely that we can do it at home.
It gives us a great chance, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We desperately need that win on Sunday, and I think we're in a decent place to do it. We spoke last week about team selections and how it was going to be. We are. Even though we have the advantage of knowing what we'll need to do on Sunday, we are surely going to go with the strongest possible side that we have, aren't we, Alex?
Yeah, I think so. Winning will put us in a better position, and it means we're not so reliant on other teams to make sure we're qualifying as high as possible. We can't really afford not to put our strongest side.
James was a little bit disparaging about Harry Wilson. I'm not sure that I agree with him, actually. I think he's had a good couple of games, but we've got Hugh Tizard back for Castres, which will be a big advantage. I mean, we're missing Theo and McFarland and various other key players, so it'll be good to have him back, and that'll make a big difference. In terms of the campaign overall, you said it's been a good campaign. You can either go glass half full or glass half empty on that. I mean, we've had some good victories against Bulls and Stade Francais, and we got a bonus point away against Munster, which a lot of people would have taken before the game. But on the other hand, it's more than possible that we beat Stade Francais because they had a player sent off, and we were getting really quite hammered in the 10 minutes before he saw the red mist. And the Bulls game was played in geological conditions which weren't typical.
Say that again.
So far from typical, in fact, yeah. So it's hard to judge the campaign, isn't it? I think like the whole season, we seem to have a good one and then a bad one. And as I alluded to with the Munster game, I think a lot of that is to do whether we can be right on it on our day, which we need to be.
Yeah, we'll need to be switched on Sunday, that's for sure. Duncan, what do you know about Castres? Because I'm not too sure how they've been doing in the French top 14 this season.
They're doing not bad. I think they're in the top half. And if we were playing them in the top 14, it would be a very, very difficult game indeed. But it's an away fixture for them in Europe. And traditionally, they've been one of those teams that qualifies year after year for the European Championship Cup and then hardly bother about it. This year, they seem to have done a little bit better than that. And of course, they're in with a shout of more than a good shout of qualification. So it's going to be interesting to see. I suspect if we can get a bit of a lead against them, there's every chance they'll be very French and give up. But we'll see.
Let's hope for that. Thanks for joining us this week, everyone. Thank you to Alex.
Okay.
And to Matt.
You're welcome, mate.
And, of course, to Duncan, Duncan, you can go and get your head down now and see if you can detoxify yourself from all that lovely Guinness.
It's going to be an early night.
And we'll see you all at the Stonex on Sunday.
This is the Fezcast.